Let's review how we can test a hypothesis when the population standard deviation is known using the p-value method. A politician publicly congratulates herself by claiming that the average monthly rent payment is less than $1,000 a month. We collect a 30 household sample to test it. Sample average is $1,060, a population standard deviation is $150, and we require a confidence level of 95%. So our hypothesis, our null hypothesis, is that the average rent is less than $1,000. The alternative hypothesis is that the mean is greater than or equal to $1,000. When we use our p-value method, what we're doing is we're trying to determine the probability with a 30 household sample that we could get 1,060. And we're going to test it against the significance level. The significance level is 1 minus our confidence level. So in this case, our significance level would be 1 minus 0.95, or a 0.05 significance level. It could also be 5%. So first we need to find our z-score. We can find our z-score using our formula that we've used in a previous section. Where x bar is our observation, or our sample average, our average of our null hypothesis, which would be 1,000, our population standard deviation, and our sample size. So we would get a z-score of 2.19. Now we can look at our z table to determine what that probability is. So here we have 2.1, and we can go all the way to the last column. And we get a probability of 0.9857, or 98.57%. So what we can do now is we're going to be testing our probability versus our significance level. So in this scenario, the probability that the average rent would be higher than 1,060, so remember when we look at our probability table, it's always less than. So we can take 1 minus this probability to determine a 1.43% chance that based on our information, that the average of monthly income, the average of monthly rent would be higher than 1,060. So there's only a 1.43% chance that average rent that our sample could bring us to more than 1,060. So if we were to sample So let's say we were to sample another 30 random households within the same region that the politician is congratulating herself in. There would only be a 1.43% chance that the average rent would be 1,060 or more than 1,060. So based on that, so it doesn't matter. So in this case, we have just hit what would be kind of close to a statistical anomaly. About 1 in 80 times this would happen. So based on that, what we do is we compare it to our significance level, which we've determined is 5%. So we're going to actually reject the null hypothesis, because using that statistic, that significance level, we don't think that if we were to find that sample and we were to hit that statistical anomaly, it's probably not true. So there is enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis. So saying that rent is less than $1,000 is false, because based on our sample, the likelihood of us getting a sample with that high of rent would not happen.